Alright, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to be proceeding with our CAD lectures or CAD tutorials that are going to be doing. So I've introduced this concept in the previous lecture. So here we're just going to be delving into the main thing and start to design with our ProE. So I've given you in your resource folder a number of diagrams. I think that is ProE diagrams 1. We can start with this one. And we're going to be, first of all, solving these questions right here. So in this first picture or first resources that I've given you, I've got 4 diagrams on this sheet. Actually, I have 4 diagrams here, and we're going to be drawing these ones. I'm going to be starting with the 4th one. That is diagram number 4, right there in the bottom corner. It's going to act as our starting point of introducing the design tools that we use in ProE. It's quite straightforward, and I would want us to start with diagram number 4, and then we'll come back to the other diagrams later on. Alright, so let me zoom into diagram number 4. So this is diagram number 4, and we have got the dimensions that have been given here to show all the features that we have in component number 4 right there. So how are we going to be designing this diagram or component number 4? We are going to be drawing the 2-dimensional view that we see from the front. And what is the front? The front is the view that has been indicated using this arrow in this case. So we're going to be drawing from the front and drawing the 2-dimensional shape that you see from the front. So that means we're going to be employing a little bit of some multi-view orthographic projection to get this 2-dimensional view of this component. And then after we get this view, the 2-dimensional view of this component, we're going to be extruding it or adding material to get a 3D component from the 2-dimensional feature that we get right there. So without wasting much time, let me open my ProE. So there is my ProE. You don't know how to open your ProE. I'm going to be designing from the front plane. So you can select front, or you can select it here, whichever you want. And we're going to be selecting the first option that we get here, which is sketch. So sketch, we sketch a 2-dimensional view, and then we are going to be performing some 3D operations later on. So I'm going to be selecting sketch again. Here, right there. So that's it. Very important. We start to see a number of new tools that we see in our drawing panel. We're going to be exploring most of these. Drawing a line, drawing a rectangle, drawing a circle, drawing a curve, drawing some fillets, all the different other things, some curves, and many other options that whose functionality you're going to be appreciating as we go deeper with our tutorials. Okay. So what is the 2-dimensional view that we see from the front? 2-dimensional view that you see from the front. So I'm going to be sketching this 2-dimensional view using the line option. I'm going to be selecting line, and then I'll start to draw. So I'm going to be clicking the first point, draw the vertical side, selecting this other one, and go down with it. And when you move this side, you can actually see there is an indication right there being shown the length to the far right vertical line and the far left vertical line. When it is being indicated as LL, that means they are at the same vertical height or at the same distance. So I can click that point because they are also of the same. They are on the same point. These two sides, they are on the same point. So when it is indicated as LL, showing that they've got the same length, I can select that point to constrain the two. Then I also click this part. I also click this part to get all the features, and then I'm going to get all these parts. Let me finish it. And right there. Now when you get or you close this shape, you still be in the line command, so you need to get out of the line command. We can use this option to get out of the command, or you can use the wheel of your mouse. We really need a mouse here and not a touchpad of your laptop. It will not give you all the drawing options that we really need to use to fully explore our Pro Engineer software. So I really require you to get a mouse, an external mouse, an optical mouse, basically, to be able to go on with our ProE in a more comfortable way. Now, when you get out of the line command, you're going to be visualizing a number of dimensions that have been automatically assigned to this diagram by the software. So you can see some different lengths of some sides of your component. You can see a number of them. You can see plenty of them right there. And it has included an angle for this inclination, this landing side here that we are having. But in the diagram, I'm not given any angles. Though I can calculate this using trigonometry, I don't want to do all those things. I don't want to have all these hassles. So I want to be able to put my own dimensions and not follow the ones that have been assigned by the ProE software. So what are we going to be doing? We are going to be using these options. So this is the option that you're going to be first appreciating or second appreciating in after the line option. So that is normal. You are creating or defining dimensions basically normally. So I'm going to be selecting that. So I want to input two dimensions or two sides, the vertical one and the horizontal one, that govern this sloping. If I can have these two dimensions, I can fully define this landing side without the use of the angle. You know how to get any angle, any inclination of any line. We need to have two sides. So get the opposite, the hypotenuse, or the adjacent. So any of those two will give me any sloping or any diagonal, or it will define any diagonal line fully. So that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to be clicking this part, and I'm also going to be clicking this part, and I'm using the mouse of the wheel, the wheel of the mouse. Actually, the wheel of the mouse, I'm going to be clicking here to get the vertical distance of that. And here it is. We have this vertical distance, and once I assign this one, the angle automatically vanishes away because the software respects my dimensions more than the automatically assigned dimensions of the software. So I'm going to be also putting the horizontal distance right here. Yes, say a number of things. This one, I think I can get it. I think it is clear as 30 in the diagram. I want you to be working hand in hand with your diagram. And then this one, I think it is what, 60, and this is 30, so this is also 30, and this is 15 by 15, and these all are 10 throughout. Okay, now there's another distance here that we get from this feature here to this line. I'm going to be designing this component in such a way that these broken lines, the center lines here, I want to make them remain at the center. I want to make them center lines with respect to this object. They have to remain at the center. You will see later on why I would want the center lines to remain at the center. It's actually a good thing, a good practice to do in our CAD. All right, now this distance, yes, we can calculate it from the given distances here, but it looks like it's a little bit tiresome to get this distance to the middle horizontal line. Though you can do that, I don't want to do that. I just want to define this line from any, or from the bottom edge or from this upper edge to this line, so that I can just divide this total distance by 2. So I'm going to selecting the normal here, and I'm selecting this distance again, and I'll just click right there, because I know this is 30 and this is 15, so it will be just 15 plus 30 divided by 2 to get the distance without really having to subtract a number of things. But any other thing which is a little bit difficult to find is automatically assigned by the software. I don't think I can get it. Oh, these are the distances. They are very straightforward from the diagram. I can get them easily just by visual. Okay. Now just click OK, and that is done. Now, these dimensions, they are not in line with what we have in our component, so I just have to put all these or to assign the proper dimensions of my component. So I'm going to be selecting everything using this selector, just clicking one part of in your workspace and highlighting everything until it is being shown there in red, so that all the dimensions have been highlighted. I'm going to be selecting the second option below, or the option which is just below the defining dimensions, which is the modifying of the values. So I'm going to be selecting this option to be able to put the correct dimensions of my component. The first thing here that we're going to be doing is that we're going to be unchecking regenerate. When we're unchecking it, you see how we're going to be using regenerate later on. Alright, so I'm going to be selecting the first dimension here, which is SD9, which has been highlighted in blue. So this part, if you check in your diagram, this must be 15. So I'm going to be putting 15 right there. Enter. Here, we get into another dimension, which has been selected again in blue, which is also 15 from your diagram, if you still remember right. Now this distance from here to the center of the component, it'll be 15 plus 30 divided by 2. That's exactly what I'm going to be doing. So that's 15 plus 30. Now let me just put it as, yes, you can put it, let me just put it as 15 plus 30 divided by 2, 22.5. So that means it has got a calculator inside. And this distance is 30. Check with the diagram again. And this distance must be 60 if I remember right. This distance, I think we are now getting into the tens. This distance must be again a 10. This distance must be a 10 again. Lastly, this distance to the vertical part. So if this total distance is 10, that means from here to here is 5. I think we're done with dimensioning this thing. It looks like we are done. So I'm going to be clicking regenerate, and then I'll click OK. Yep. Now I've got the two-dimensional view that I see from the front. I am happy with it, so I am going to click OK right here. So that's the two-dimensional shape that we see. Just to look very familiar here. That's it. Just to verify. Alright, now we need to add material to a depth of 60. We need to add material to a depth of 60 to get this 3D component. What I only have is a two-dimensional view. So how do I get that? I'm going to be using this first option on 3D operations, which is the extrude tool. Select the extrude tool. So as you can see, it's the area which is enclosed by this shape will be selected, or it will be highlighted in orange, showing that it is ready to add material. Now here we can specify our extrusion depth or extrusion distance. So what is the extrusion distance? It is 60 millimeters right there. And I'm going to be selecting this option of extruding in the middle, extrude on both sides, so that the central planes will remain at the center. So let me just select 60 again. So once selected 60, I can click enter. Or before I click enter, let me go back to this extrusion. Let me go back to the extrusion slightly. So I'm going to go back to the sketch, and then I'm going to be clicking extrude. There's something that I really want to illustrate here. So I'm going to be selecting this option, extrude on both sides, and put an extrusion distance of 60. Now, using the wheel of your mouse, you can click anywhere in this component, and then you can turn this component to see how this thing is extruding. That's a very, very important stage right there that I had skipped. So you can only get this when you're using the wheel of your mouse. That is why you really need to get an external mouse for designing in CAD. So this is how it is extruding. What was the extrusion plane? This was the extrusion plane, and it will be extruding on both sides at length of 60. So that means from here to here it will be 30, and here to here it will be also 30. It will be automatically assigned by the computer or by the software. So that is it. So you can also visualize before you click OK. Visualize or zoom to see, let me say visualize, to see how this component is going to result. So that's the thing. That's the component. I think we've gotten our component. I'm just using the wheel of the mouse and clicking the component and rotating it to visualize all the sides of the component. I think I am happy with it. Happy. So I'm going to click OK. I'm going to click OK, and I'm done. That's it. So you can save this component, I don't know, in your ProE documents. You can put it as practice. Let me put it as practice question number 1. Practice 1 without spacing right then, and it will be saved automatically. So that's it. You have successfully made our first component using our ProE. In the next tutorial, I'm going to be showing a different way of coming up with the same component. You have to choose which method is easy to you to grasp, but this is the first one, and you need to know all the concepts, all the tools that I've explored in this tutorial. Alright, see you then.